What's up, you guys? This is Jessica Michelle, and you're listening to Scott Lips on Lips LA.
Hey guys, we're here with a man who needs no introduction, a friend and one of the greatest singers of all time, and my good friend Anthony Kiedis. How are you, brother?
I'm all right. I'm going to have to quantify that opening statement there. I have a feeling that there are thousands of better singers that we've never even heard of.
Well, you're my friend, and that's how I feel. So that's what I'm going to say.
There you
so
go.
yeah,
Thank you.
So there's so much to get into with you, and I appreciate you coming down. So I think we can spend hours, but because you don't have hours, I want to kind of take it back to the beginning. You grew up in Michigan, and obviously musically, I know you had a lot of different influences which led us to where we are today. And I want to talk about from the day you started, playing music, and you knew that it was something you were going to do, kind of your biggest passions in life. I know you had P-Funk, you had George Clinton, you had a lot of different musical influences, which kind of led us to what eventually became the Chili Peppers. Which are the artists that you feel like really inspired you the most to do? Because it was punk. I know you were into punk, and I know you were into George Clinton and Blondie and all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But are there certain ones that stand out? Because you also had a funk thing that a lot of bands in the mid '80s when you came out weren't doing, and I feel you guys were very innovative in merging these sort of cultures. Even hip hop wise, your singing style was innovative, I thought, at the time.
Yeah, well, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five lit a fire under me at age 19 or 20 or something. But as I was being inspired by music since childhood and influenced by life around me from childhood, I had no idea that it was going to end up in my own art form. That was all quite accidental. And the 80s, oddly enough, were a very prolific time for funk music. There was all kinds of weird hybrid funk going on, from D-Funk to early hip-hop, Sugar Hill Gang and the Commodores. There were all these weird funky bands that touched me in a way, but I wasn't thinking, ooh, I want to be a funk guy or I want to be a musician.
Yeah.
I was just hanging out. And then in high school, punk rock kind of came to the USA. And I just by chance stumbled into an auditorium where Devo and the Germs and all these bands were playing. And I was like, okay, this is in fact the future. I was just looking at it.
Yeah.
And, sometimes especially when you're young, you can kind of get your finger up inside the pulse of the musical womb. And yeah, like I said, I wasn't thinking, I need to learn about this because one day I'm going to be able to apply it. It's just like you're a sponge and you soak it up.
You absorb everything.
One day in a living room with your homies, they're like, let's try to write a song. And it just comes pouring back out. So.
Yeah, because you went to high school with Flea. You went to Fairfax High, I believe, right?
Yeah, and Hillel and Jack Irons.
Right.
We were all in the same class.
So rare that classmates form a band that's around for so many years and did so well, right? And
it happens. I think the Kinks were a school band.
Oh. And I read somewhere, which I didn't even know, that you worked with the drummer at a certain point. I think the first record, Craig, who was in the Weirdos, right?
You were talking about Cliff.
Yes. Cliff was in the Weirdos.
Cliff was a gun for hire. He was in so many good bands. I think he played with Don Van Fleet.
Okay.
The Weirdos, possibly the Screamers, the Dickies. He was in the Dickies, and then he came and played with us and was amazing. And if not for the fact that our original drummer, Jack Irons, wanted to
do something else.
Rejoin.
Oh, right.
After Hillel rejoined, Jack was like, maybe I'll rejoin.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason we asked Cliff to step down, because we got our high school guy back.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you guys have maintained these friendships. You're truly, I love how you have this brotherhood, and it's real, right? And it's like, no, but it's real. I mean, you and Flea have been friends since high school. But I mean, I see there's no wavering in that friendship. That friendship seems to be as strong as ever, which is so rare. Me and my best friend, maybe we fight a little bit, but
we fight.
But you don't really see it.
We fight.
You don't see it.
We are brothers. Brothers fight.
Yeah.
It's like lifelong. Like, I love you, and now I have to beat your ass.
But
I love you.
You're as close with him now as you've ever been. I feel like it seems like.
Yeah, still close with Jack Irons.
Yeah. And Chad and all the guys.
All the guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool. So, all right. So yeah, there's so much to get into, and I want to talk about a little bit about your new record and Dark Necessities and all the stuff that went into that, and working obviously with Danger Mouse. The writing process, you and I have spoken about a little bit, is so much different for this new record, right? Because I know that Brian, he lays beats down and starts with beats and pieces things together versus just like getting in a room and playing from years ago.
Yeah.
So, and I know you're starting to rehearse now and hope, do a new record eventually, I'm sure. So is the process now, because I have so many interesting things I read about that I didn't know about you being your friend, but that I discovered along the research way.
Maybe I'll discover
You'll
something.
discover some things too. Like the fact that you guys had almost a full record done when you started doing the last record, and Brian came in and said, let's write some songs in the studio from scratch. And I believe that from what I was listening to, Chad was saying how you guys have written like 6 or 7 songs and a bunch made it on the new record. So tell me about the writing process now, or with someone like Brian, how it used to be working with Rick and how it's different. Because obviously, experimenting and doing new things and evolving has always been something you guys have been doing. So
It is, and obviously when you hire Brian / Danger Mouse, you're hiring a person that works differently than you're used to working, and that is part of the attraction. But at the beginning of all writing and creative process is the band in a room together jamming. We'll jam and we'll jam and we'll jam. And
for hours.
For hours, and beautiful things happen, and when they do, I try to capture them and remember this is something I want to put vocals on. And then, we had 20 some odd songs when we met Danger Mouse, and he listened carefully to every note of every song, and he's like, there might be 8 or 9 of those worth keeping, in my opinion, which is pretty beautiful for a guy to step in and be that honest and say, I'm not that interested in the other 20.
Right.
And we're kind of looking at you going, those are our babies. Are you sure you want to just toss those out?
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of Brian, is he's not afraid to say when he doesn't like something, when he does like something.
Yeah. And which were the ones that you wrote that were new to the process when he came in after he said that?
So the new songs that were written in studio, Dark Necessities was something that was born in the studio with Brian. I think the bass line existed, and then we just started piecing that puzzle together. Probably half and half. So half the songs we had before and half we wrote with Brian in the studio.
And is this writing process for you vastly different and more interesting? Because obviously it's a whole different way to work, right? Because I know we had spoken about it before, but even, his background being in Gnarls Barkley and a lot of his hip hop influences and things like that, it's just a different take on things. So
yeah, it's not vastly different. We're still writing a song. We're just doing it a little bit faster and starting with maybe Brian would suggest that, Chad, play something from James Brown, circa 1965.
Right.
And just keep playing that over and over, and then Flea, if you get an idea, jump in. The thing for me is I have to write my part really fast because we're in the studio recording a record, and they'll give me what they did that day and say, okay, go home and come back tomorrow with a great song. So the pressure cooker is on, but I don't mind that because I'm a procrastinator by nature, and I'd rather write the song on the way to the studio than have a month to go think about it.
And I know you're an avid bike rider, so do you put the music in your earphones, you ride it on your motorcycle on PCH, and do you come up with lyrics like that, or is it some other way? I mean, what's the best way that you've learned to write lyrics?
Every possible way at your disposal.
I never see you jotting things down, so they're not like you're not just writing things along the way when you come. It's just more when you're at home, you're in solitude, you're writing things. Or
I'm a very sly jotter.
You are? Okay.
Yes.
I've never
No. I jot on planes.
Okay.
I jot on trains. On the bike, I'll pull over. Like if I start getting a melody in my head that I
cool.
like, I'll pull over and get out the stupid phone and record it into the phone.
You listen to the tracks when you're on the motorcycle, like some music sometimes?
I do. It was easier when I rode a bike that had a CD player, and I could listen to it outside of headphones.
Yeah.
Like my old Harley Davidson had this big speaker system, and now I'm on a BMW and it's a little more high tech. But the car still works for me. I love riding in a car.
Cool.
You can pull over in a dirt parking lot somewhere and just get down with your pencil and paper.
Yeah. And what is it? I mean, obviously there's so much that you pull inspiration from. I know that you're really connected to the sea and surfing, and you're an incredible father and things like that. But are you pulling inspiration from the same places today that you were years ago, or has it changed for you, do you feel?
I'm not prejudiced when it comes to inspiration. Like sometimes the more obvious pools of inspiration don't interest me. It's like, I love my son more than anything on earth.
Yeah.
I'm not going to write a song about him.
Right.
It's just maybe at the breakfast table, I'll sing him a song about
Yeah.
what he's up to. But Yeah, pain is a better source of inspiration. Suffering is a better source of inspiration. Difficulty is a better source of inspiration. Those kind of emotions tend to come out. On the last record, Josh had this beautiful little chord progression, and Robin Williams died.
Right.
And I was so, for some weird reason, affected by that. Like he felt, when he left this earth, I felt like we lost the energy of a saint.
Yeah.
He was such a giver, and as messed up as he might have been, or as, if you didn't like his comedy, whatever, his whole vibe was just to make the world a better place, I felt.
Definitely.
And so I was stricken with grief over the loss of someone that I was not close to. And I ended up writing a song about not judging people for killing themselves because they're in so much pain that you can't even comprehend. Like maybe it was a miracle that he got 65 years on this earth, surviving with that pain and raising his family with that pain. So when he finally checked out, I was like, let's not judge him for that.
Yeah.
Like we don't know what he was going through.
By the way, that's what I was going to say. You never know what people are going through.
You don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
I mean,
what song was that?
It didn't make it to the record.
Oh, okay. I
But-
was going to jump to that song, but
No. I'm just saying, like the pools of inspiration.
Yeah.
Like the ocean is. I'd rather be in the ocean than right here, right now.
yeah.
But
Well, luckily you probably already surfed this morning. So.
I didn't. Man, it was working. The waves were on today.
Okay.
I might go straight to the break from here.
So it's funny because for those of you who don't know, and I'm quite sure no one knows. I met Anthony years ago, but he doesn't remember because I was like delivering packages
I
to
do
your house.
remember.
Well, I was like the intern for Lindy Getz, who was your first manager. Would you say?
Yeah, first
manager.
Very seminal, instrumental, key figure in our lives at that time.
Yeah, and there was like just me and one other girl who worked in the office at the time, and I think he had Candlebox too, and it was the Dave Navarro One Hot Minute era.
Right.
So I want to say 94.
Okay.
Probably 94.
Yeah. Not my best era, but yeah.
And I think I delivered a package to Flea, and I remember him answering the door in his underwear, playing a tuba or something. And
A tuba?
Or a big, I don't know what it was.
Big horn.
It was a horn. I don't know what
Yeah,
kind
I mean, he plays trumpet, he plays flugelhorn.
It was a big horn. I can't remember. It's going back. But anyway, that's actually where I first met you. But I know that Flea's really into jazz, so I'm sure it was some kind of jazz thing he was listening to, Charlie Parker or something. And
Could be.
Yeah. One thing you and I never spoke about, my uncle played in Charlie Parker's band.
What?
It's pretty cool. Yeah, Red Rodney.
What?
Yes. If you ever see Bird, my uncle was the albino redhead in his band, Red Rodney.
What did he play?
He played flugelhorn.
Fantastic.
And trumpet, so pretty cool.
Wow.
So I want to talk about the video. Olivia Wilde directed the video, jumping all around here, for Dark Necessities.
Yeah.
And how did you come about to use her? I mean, it was an interesting choice. The video was great. How did that all happen?
So we did not necessarily seek her out. It wasn't like we were familiar with her work and went after her. That was the first video, and we probably got 20 different treatments. And, on some level, we have to all agree, or at least sort of agree. And after reading all the treatments and kind of looking at the reels of all these directors, hers was kind of the best for us.
Wow.
And it was one of those, rare moments where Flea and I agreed quickly and easily on something. And then she got everyone was just kind of singing her praises, people that we respected, other directors and the record company, like she's actually really good at what she does. And she was. I think she did a damn fine job.
Did a great job. Yeah.
And her editor was spot on, and it kind of holds up. Like, I check on these videos every now and then to see how they're doing, and hers really holds up well. It was the beginning of a little bit of a wave of female directors that was not intentional, but as it turned out, every girl or every video on the record was directed by a female.
Amazing.
Yeah, from Tota Sigurdardóttir.
Yeah.
From Iceland, and Beth Jeans Houghton.
Okay.
Did the animated video for Sick Love.
All right. Yeah.
So
that's great. Yeah, I mean it's a great video, and I think what a great record and a departure a little bit. I mean, I was thinking about your videos just right now. I was thinking about give it away, and that video really stands up because I remember seeing that not too long ago. What a great video!
Stéphane Sednari,
one of the best photographers in the world. It's you've always had a great eye for aesthetics. Even back in the day when you started, I think your first gig was, or one of your first gigs was like at the Kit Kat Club or something years ago. And I remember you guys used to wear socks. And it was like a thing.
Yes.
So the imaging of the band, everything to where you are now, it's like, what was the thought process behind that years ago? Was it just like we're just kids, we're just getting out there, and
Yeah, we
just want to
wouldn't-
be outrageous as possible, and that's like kind of
We were just going with the moment. We weren't thinking about branding or imaging or anything at all other than just being outrageous and having fun and leaving a mark and letting our freak flags fly, really.
Yeah.
So
That's always been about, you guys have always been about having fun on stage. I mean, such a great live show. And you're one of the bands that always plays like all your greatest songs ever, which I have to, I give a lot of respect to that, because sometimes like I'll see Radiohead and I won't know any of their songs, and I'm a Radiohead fan. I'm like, can you just play like the Bends or OK Computer or something?
I love both. I love bands that refuse to play their hits, and then, sometimes you just gotta give the people what they want.
Well, sometimes you do. You did. I know you just did a Hendrix cover the other night, right? You did
We
the
did.
benefit. So
Purple
which is cool.
Haze,
Yeah,
yeah.
Purple Haze. You've done Access Bold as Love before, I think, right?
Have we? No, I don't think we have.
No? Oh, I thought you had.
We did Castles Made of Sand, Fire, Crosstown Traffic,
A lot of Hendrix.
some
There's a lot of
Hendrix.
Yeah.
But we also did a Allman Brothers Band song the other night,
Oh, cool.
which was way out of our
Yeah.
wheelhouse.
What song?
Ramblin' Man,
Oh, I wish I would have seen that.
written by Dickie Betts. So
Cool.
he fell on his head 2 weeks ago and had brain surgery
Oh, wow.
and recovered. But that inspired me to want to
Yeah.
look into a Dickie Betts song, and so we learned it, played it. It was fun.
That's cool. Well, talk about a little bit about the charity that you're involved with, the Silver Lake Conservatory and the schools and all the stuff you do. Because
it's not really a charity. It's a school.
It's a school.
It's
but,
a school.
But you do this benefit every year or so.
Annual benefit.
Annual benefit.
yeah.
You've had like Metallica to whoever. A lot of.
We haven't had Metallica. They owe us a show.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
that they played Metallica.
They haven't. They
Oh,
haven't. But
okay.
in theory,
They owe you-
they're-
they will be
they're
playing.
they're signed up to
Right.
play.
Was this a Mo Austin tribute I read about?
This was so.
Okay.
Every year we try to honor somebody, which is just kind of a way of getting momentum and rallying the troops. But Mo, at age 91, who gets asked to do stuff all the time and says, "I'd rather not, thanks,"
Yeah.
agreed to do this for us, and so we honored Mo Austin, who started Reprise Records and actually signed Jimi Hendrix and
Yeah.
Neil Young and worked with Frank Sinatra, and very historically important icon of the music industry.
And work with you guys because
He did. He signed us.
Yeah.
Yeah, he signed
Yeah.
us.
Can't forget that.
No, we'll never forget that. We had actually, someone offered us a bigger check, and we went with the bigger check. And then Mo called Flea and I to congratulate us on the great record deal we got with another record label. And we're like, who does that? Who's
Who did you sign with initially?
Epic?
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And we were so touched by Mo's gesture. He's like, whatever you do, just go make a great record, because that's what really matters. And
Yeah.
we're like, oh, we like you. We'll jump ship.
Yeah.
And the rest was history. Our next record was Blood Sugar Sex Magic. So Mo was there. A lot of great artists donate beautiful art, paintings,
Yeah.
photography, and we raised a lot of money. And it's important because that school services 1,000 kids
Amazing.
in Los Angeles that don't have music education in public school or anywhere else.
And you do that like once a year. If somebody wanted to donate to that, they just go on the site for Silver Lake Conservatory and donate. Is that what it is?
Silver Lake Conservatory of Music. Donate, come down, check it out, bring your kids, sign
Cool.
up for the choir. Just check it out.
I love it.
Yeah.
I was listening to a great story that you guys were talking about the other day when we were talking. Someone was talking about generationally, like how kids come to your shows to parents, and I don't know if it was you or Chad said, well, that's because someone said, oh, did you know that Will Ferrell plays in the Chili Peppers? So one of you guys said that story about that, like some kid said that. And obviously one of the greatest drummers of all time, Chad, ever. And I think your sound also really evolved when he joined the band. And I think it's just every time I see him, I'm mesmerized by how great he is. And you're I think almost like there was, the sound almost became a bit more almost like radio friendly when he joined the band too. Would you say that kind of, because it kind of just added another dimension to the sound of the band?
Yeah, he definitely made it maybe more accessible in some way.
Yeah.
He's a great musician.
Incredible.
Like, besides just being a great drummer, he's just, he is music and he lives for music. And, there's all varieties of art like sometimes it's the raw spirit of an individual, and they don't even have to be great at their instrument, but their spirit is so on fire that whatever they do is just contagious and you want to be a part of it. And then there are these prodigies that are kind of born genetically predisposed to math and music, and they're just advanced from age 5. And
That's him.
That's him. And then there's people that practice 8 hours a day and they become prodigies from the practice. So Chad's a little bit of all that.
Yeah.
But he's gifted. I mean,
Yeah.
like other people, other drummers look at him and they scratch their head and they're like, what is going on with that?
It's crazy. I want to jump to one of my favorite songs from the new record, Dark Necessities, and we'll be back in just a moment to talk with Anthony Kiedis. And again, thank you for coming on, man.
Pleasure.
You're listening to Scott Lips on Lips LA.
Hi, we're back with Anthony Kiedis. Anthony, how you doing, my man?
I am well, thank you.
I almost feel that radio is almost like a lost art form. I had the pleasure of seeing Rodney Bingenheimer the other day at Rite Aid, which was
Whoa.
yeah.
What a sighting.
Yeah, a little, I wanted him to be happy. He didn't look that happy. So, but I think he was like the first guy to play you guys on the air, I feel like, years ago.
Definitely the first guy to play us on real radio, commercial radio.
Yeah.
There may have been college radio. We had a pretty good run at college radio.
Oh, you did?
With our first couple of records.
Okay.
Your Loyola Marimounts of the world.
Yeah.
But the first time I ever heard us on commercial radio was K-Rock, and it was Rodney's show.
Rodney on the Rock or something.
I think it was Rodney on the Rock. It was, I think it was, and it was the song "Fight Like a Brave" off our third
Cool.
record. And
What was that like? You're driving.
I was downtown. I turned it up. I rolled my windows down just to make sure the world could share this moment with me.
Yeah.
And I still get a kick out of hearing our music on the radio.
How could you not, right?
I just do. I don't always listen to it.
Yeah.
But, because it's just, I've heard those songs so many times. But when I see us come up on the screen, I'm like, yes, we're out there.
Yeah. I mean, more than you know, I hear it everywhere. I hear it like, because it's actually, it's cool when you're like friends with someone too, and you hear the music and then it reminds me of your friend. I hear it everywhere, like randomly. Like, and it's just, you're not like, you're probably not, like you said, you don't want to listen, maybe you're not like consciously looking for it or whatever, but I feel like I hear the Chili Peppers like once every 3 days somewhere.
Good.
So it's cool. And musically, you guys have touched a lot of people and gotten a lot of people through a lot of hard times, which I think is a really important thing. I'm sure you've heard that a lot. I feel like a song like Under the Bridge has really connected with millions and millions of people and gotten a lot of people through a lot of hard times. And when you hear stories like that, because I'm sure fans tell you stories all the time, this song changed my life. It really touched me. It really helped me through a really hard time. It's got to feel great when you know you've helped people like that.
Yes, it does. I'm always appreciative and feel blessed to have been present to channel that song. But I try not to think about it too much because I'm trying to move forward and have that happen again someday. So
Yeah.
I don't dwell so much on the past. I do take the time to appreciate when people want to communicate with me. I've heard all variety of stories. One of the ones that really stuck with me just because it was heavy was a kid who died in a car crash. And his family reached out to me because they found in his cassette deck a Red Hot Chili Peppers tape, which was being cranked as his last moment on earth. And they're
Wow.
like, we just want you to know our son went out listening to your music and you were a big part of his life. And it's like, that's just
Touching, but so heavy.
Touching and heavy,
Yeah,
like-
what can you say to that? My God. Well, so the process, take us through the process then. So you're doing this record now. You guys normally rehearse for 3 months or something before you do a new record?
there's no rules.
But usually, is it usually like a long period of time or a short period of time? Or I know there's no rules, but like generally speaking, is it months? Would you say that you're rehearsing before a new record?
I hope we work intensely and quickly.
So
I like getting the job done. And I feel like if you give yourself too much time, you'll take all that time,
Yeah.
and you won't necessarily get more work done.
And like riffs are brought in, or is everything like a jam from the beginning, or a song? Or both. Okay.
Everything under the sun.
Cool.
A word could be brought in.
Right.
A picture could be brought in. A note could be brought in. An instrument could be brought. I think maybe we should write a song on this funny instrument. That was Josh talking there. But a riff. I have this idea on the piano. It kind of like sounds like this, but it's open and anything you want to bring in. I think we should watch this movie and then write a song.
And do you listen to new music to get inspired? Because I've had many conversations with you about social media and where culture is going in social media. Like, because social media, I know that's something you don't really need to be on. But do you listen to a lot of new music, would you say?
I listen to everything I run into.
Okay. Where do you discover new music? Like
the barbershop,
okay.
YouTube, the car.
I'm sure Everly, turns you on to new music.
My son, such a good dancer that little
Yeah.
boy is. Yeah. Yes.
Does he ever turn you on to music and you're like, wow, I never even heard of this genre? There's so many subgenres. of
He's,
music.
what he hears is the straight up top 40 pop,
Right.
which doesn't
That
really
doesn't do it
get
to you.
through to me.
Yeah.
Just because it's so formulaic in general. The formula
Yeah.
thing just doesn't
Doesn't
stir
work.
me. But if he likes it, I'm down for him.
Yeah.
If it makes him happy, that's what music is there for.
But when you want to, if you get home, you like, I just want to listen to something that's going to really inspire me and pick me up. Is it Marvin Gaye? Is it like, I've heard it could be the Sex Pistols to Marvin Gaye, but is there like stuff that it's not new music, right? Necessarily that you're,
no, I would listen to Frank Ocean for inspiration.
Okay, that's sort of new.
By the way, Flea and Josh both turn me on to new stuff all the time, especially when we're touring. If a good new record comes out,
Yeah.
we'll engage. The Unknown Mortal Orchestra got through to me the other day.
Oh, cool.
You-
Well, I feel like when you started the band, there wasn't a lot of bands that were merging those genres of music. And I say hip hop because your singing style was like rapping and it sort of evolved from then a lot. But
Yeah,
so you were clearly listening to hip hop back in the day too, right?
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it would you say it was a big inspiration for you? Like, when you-
It's why we started the band. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Grandmaster Flash, because I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't studying to be a musician, but all of my friends were.
yeah.
And by proximity, I was exposed to their musical journeys. And then when I heard Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, I was like, I think I might be able to do this. Like, it was so arousing to me,
Yeah.
that vocal style. Just talking about your street life and your people, and that when it finally got suggested, why don't you let Anthony try a song? And everybody that was already playing music, why would we let him try a song? He's not a musician.
Right.
Well, just maybe he's got something to say.
Right.
And so they kind of agreed, they conceded, they capitulated, they bowed down to this suggestion, and that's what started our band. So yeah, kind of Grandmaster Flash was gave me the green light to
go for it,
open
yeah.
my mouth. Yeah.
And scene wise, because obviously it was such a different, vibrant scene in the late 80s from musically in California to where it is today. It's something I could talk about for hours, but how has it changed? I remember Club Lingerie. When I first moved here, it was 1987. I was a kid, and I think you guys were already I think you were started 83, 84. Is that
We
when you
started
formed?
83. Yeah.
83, right. So, how has it changed? Because obviously people used to wait online for hours to get into clubs. There was Club Lingerie. People would be like waiting for hours in anticipation to get into rock clubs. I mean, do you notice the change where music has gone, like, especially in California? Because I see you guys as almost like, even though you're not necessarily from LA, one of the quintessential rock bands that came out of California in the last 20, 30 years.
Well, I mean, our band is from LA.
Yeah. I mean, you're from Michigan, but I still see your band as being LA.
Yeah. I mean, two of our founding members were from LA,
Okay.
and then two were transplants, but we came in the 70s, so pretty LA. The scene has certainly changed, but thank God.
Yeah.
If it stayed the same, it would be pretty boring.
Yeah.
But I don't think the creative spirit ever goes away. I think it just keeps morphing and transmogrifying into something different and new, and the clubs change. And for a while it was Spaceland, and then
Right.
it became the Smell downtown. And there's always
The
somebody
The Scream. Remember that place?
way back when.
Yeah, way
the Scream,
back,
giving that a shout out.
Yeah.
I think people are forever going to want to tinker with music, whether it's electronic music or rock music or whatever it is. I don't think that's ever going to go away. It's just going to keep finding a new home.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's different. When we were in our teens and young 20s, we would line up for the Whiskey or the Roxy or
Yeah.
the Lingerie or the Scream or whatever and hang out. And there was more of a scene.
Definitely.
But everything was different at that time. It was less gentrified, less homogenized, less branded. It was more about, let's just go have fun. And people weren't, they didn't have such a preconceived outcome of what they were going for. Let's just do it right now and see what happens.
That's true. I feel like some of the passion for rock and roll has migrated to South America. I feel like South America, right? I feel like Brazil, South America, like they're so passionate about rock there. You know, especially.
Yeah.
So I feel like that they never lost the passion for rock and roll there. In fact, I feel like it was like amplified almost.
Yes, South America is passionate about their rock music. By the way, so is most of the world.
Yeah.
Like outside of the U.S.
Outside of the U.S.,
But U.S. has always been musically cutting edge.
Yeah.
I mean, the inventors of rock music and jazz music and many other things. But
when you play for audiences, though, in South America, you got to admit they're like crazy over there, right? They're
way more heated in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, we're not struggling here either.
No, definitely
We
not.
had some good times.
I don't think you've ever struggled audience-wise as a band. Was one of your best, if you had to really sort of recollect one of your best moments from a live perspective, would you say it would be Hyde Park?
Hyde Park was a monumental run for us because we played 3 days in a row. It was also monumental because we got to play with James Brown.
Right. He opened for you, I think. From what
Let's just say we shared the bill.
Okay.
I would never say James Brown opened for us.
But he played before you.
He played before us,
Right.
but we shared the bill.
Okay.
Let's say we co-headlined.
And then he like died, I think, a year later or
He
something.
died less than a year later.
Yeah.
So that was in the summertime, and he died on Christmas Eve.
Wow.
And I cried my eyes out. I woke up and found out he was gone, and it hit me like a ton of bricks.
So that stands out in your head as like one of the most iconic things you've ever done.
It was iconic because it was Hyde Park, which
Yeah.
was already iconic, and we had the 3-day run. It was daytime. It was fun. James Brown was there. I got to meet and hang out and talk to James
How
Brown.
was he? Was he?
He was on another level.
Right.
As a musician, as a human being, his experience was just next level. So I sat there and listened and tried to take it all in. And
Wow.
yeah, he was like he had transcended.
Wow.
You know, even
Yeah.
his glow, his aura, his skin, it was otherworldly.
Wow.
It's James Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to live in another strange fact. I used to live in the same building as Bobby Womack in Sherman Oaks. So we were friends, or as friendly as like I could be with him. But he liked me because he knew I was a musician. So I used to go over his apartment. I had no idea what he was talking about.
Okay.
But I would sit and listen to him talk, and I tried to extrapolate, words of wisdom from it because he wrote with the Stones and all these people back in the day. So it was cool. So yeah, so I'm sure some of those guys like they're. I mean, how do you even get into like what they created? It was a genre of music. It was incredible. But that's pretty cool. So that stands out in your mind. And obviously, I've never personally congratulated, but yeah, the 2012 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, pretty monumental for you, right? That must have felt pretty amazing, to get to see like your family and friends like welcome that to you, right?
Yeah, it was fun, and it was kind of a nice coincidence or whatever that we ended up joining the same year that the Beastie Boys joined.
All right.
Albeit without Adam Yauch.
Yep.
That was kind of the anguished part of it. But we grew up with the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
And there was always this kind of competitive East Coast, West Coast, let's make a better record than the Beastie Boys, let's make a better record than them. And but quietly we admired the hell out of them because they were prolific and they were themselves and they were funky and they were inventive and they just had it.
Yeah.
So to be inducted as the same year with them was
amazing. I feel like you're friends with Mike D. He lives in Malibu.
Yes, I love Mike.
Yeah.
We share the waves together.
Yeah.
And fatherhood and many other things.
That's cool. So now your life, obviously, the surfing is a big part of your life and a big part of like who you are in nature and being connected to that. Right. It's true. Right.
I've always felt connected to nature. Yeah.
But like surfing is, I don't know. How long have you been surfing for? I don't actually know.
11 years.
Wow. But I feel like it's almost like a daily thing you do when you can, I'm sure, right?
It's a when you can thing
Yeah.
because there's not waves every day.
Yeah.
It's, dependent on faraway storms, but
It probably brings you a lot out because you can't do it all the time when you're on the road. So you probably have like a great sense of joy when you're able to do that like on a daily basis when you're home and not playing, I imagine.
I love it so much.
Yeah. You know how many times I told you that I can't swim, but I definitely want you to teach me one day. So this year, so let's talk about 2019 for a minute. So obviously you got, you're writing a new record. Hopefully it'll come out sometime next year.
We actually start on Monday.
Okay.
Officially.
So it'll almost definitely come out next year, I think. Or good
yes.
chance.
Yeah. Next year. I mean, Correct.
Yeah, and there's very few things that you haven't accomplished and done, but is there anything like next year you really want to do that you're like, I really want to do this, or I feel like I really want to accomplish this next year or something?
I do. I have something that I would like to accomplish. I want to write really good songs.
Well, I feel you do that a lot, but
But I want to do it now.
You want to do it now, yeah. So you're in the writing phase. That's cool.
Yes.
So cool. So I'm super excited to be able to get to hear what's going on with the new record. And last but not least, I just wanted to talk about your connection to like what fashion means to you, because I know you did a Marc Jacobs campaign a couple years ago. I was fortunate enough to do some pictures with you a couple years ago, which was one of the greatest photo shoots I ever did. Thank you. I don't know. I know it plays a big role in like, so because you're not like, it's not like you talk about it, but I mean, you have great style. The band's always had great style. I know you're into like very cool brands and have a very cool sense of it. You just did New York Fashion Week. You were there, right?
I did New York Fashion Day.
Fashion Day, Band of Outsiders, was it? Or was it?
No, I went to the Libertine
show. Sorry. I don't know why I said Band of Outsiders. I don't think is in existence anymore. So those are brands that you like. And fashion for you, has it played a big role in your life? Do you think of it not so much as like something important to you, or is it important?
I love fashion, but I'm not in love with corporate fashion.
Okay.
I can't subscribe to the Gucci, Versace.
Right.
I just like, who cares? It's like, so you got a lot of money, you can buy some expensive stuff. That is not passionate or creative or interesting. That's, anyone can do it.
Yeah, you'd rather seek out
I love
designers
people that make their own clothes, or they take a designer thing or a non-designer thing and turn it into something cool in themselves.
Yeah.
I like seeing people that have their own style, their own expression, and it's not about how much money they have that they can afford the expensive stuff. Fashion is just another art form.
Definitely.
And it's amazing when you see someone step out and you're like, wow, they look amazing, and who would have thought of that? And you know.
Yeah, and culturally, do you think that kids that are living on their phones now and things like that, do you think it's like bad for culture? Because obviously we grew up in a time when that wasn't the case. Everyone's whole life is on display now.
Yeah,
so
it makes it more difficult to be unique and original and yourself, because it's everybody gets exposed to everything, which is tricky.
Yeah,
but that's for music too.
Right.
Joe Walsh was talking about how the internet killed rock and roll, because now you just press a button and you can hear it all, but you used to have to work for it and live for it and breathe for it and sweat for it and bleed for it and come for it and everything. Yeah. And now it's just like, oh, there it is on the internet. Right. So it's a little less weighty.
Yeah.
But that's okay. We'll get through it.
Well, it's definitely a strange time period. Let's jump to Give It Away. Red Hot Chili Peppers. We're here with Anthony Kiedis, and we'll come back. And again, thank you for coming on, my man. We're back, and we're with Anthony Kiedis, and just wrapping up here. Anthony, it was so great to have you here. I just played a couple of tracks. Do you have a favorite track from the new record, by the way? The last record? I know the new one you're writing.
You know what? I like Dreams of a Samurai.
Okay.
It's not my favorite track,
but it's one that
I like playing it live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you is that like one of your favorite? If you had, I know you don't have favorites. Again, they're all like your kids, but live wise too. So because I want to jump to that track in 1 second. Mm-hmm. But is there also another track? I want to play one other last track that's a real favorite of yours to play live.
I love playing Go Robot live. Dark Necessities is actually the apex of our show, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think we already played that. So.
Yeah. Let's close out. Let's play Go Robot. Thanks so much, brother. I really appreciate you coming by. You're listening to Lips LA with Anthony Kiedis, Red Hot Chili Peppers. A bunch of albums here. Let's see if you have connections to these artists. So first up,
can you sing me a bar or two of this? Hang On to Your Heart. I don't know this record, but wow. Talk about your fashion plates.
Next record.
Growing up, I did not give Andy Gibb a chance. John Frusciante actually covered Shadow Dancing while we were on tour in Europe and killed it. He's trying to steal my mustache. May he rest in peace. This was the billboard on Sunset Boulevard when I was probably 12 or 13 years old. You had the geeks and you had the cool guys. Flea and I will be the nerds, and Josh and Chad can be the swap.
Good album, by the way. That one, you know.
This is a single. It's a 12-inch. I like the fact that it's got Search and Destroy on it, and memories unfold. Yep.
We were little.